The vetting of EMPD officials begins today, just some days after President Cyril Ramaphosa announced it. The department has been at the center of evidence before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. It is, of course, probing political interference and corruption in the criminal justice system. Several witnesses have alleged that senior EMPD officials have been involved in criminal activity. During his State of the Nation address last week, the president announced that the State Security Agency will now vet all senior police officials. Newzroom Afrika's Ziniko is on that story. He joins us live from Ekurhuleni. You're in Alberton this morning, Ziniko, where we've seen some SSA officials seated in a room. In fact, it looks quite a bit like Home Affairs, right? We're seeing the EMPD officers coming into the room, having a seat in these rows of chairs, and then going one at a time to, I think I saw someone having their fingerprints taken.
Yes, that's exactly how that process has been ongoing. You will think that we are at the Home Affairs offices where you're seeing some people queuing up, taking their own seats and eventually getting onto that particular chair where their fingerprints are being taken by a law firm that has been commissioned to carry out that process. Well, I can confirm that the people that the process is starting with are senior managers or senior leaders within the EMPD leadership. But you'll also know that currently, you know, the head of EMPD and his deputy are both on suspension, so they are not here today. But to give us more details, Michelle, about the details and how this process is going to unfold in the next coming months, we're joined now by Mr. Rakgwale, who's the head of the forensics department here at Ekurhuleni municipality. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. I think it all makes sense by starting with the question, why have these officers or officials have not been vetted since 2022, but also the credibility of this process? Why should South Africans have faith that this process is going to carry out its mandate as enshrined?
No, thank you very much. The process of why it hasn't happened since 2022, I think it's public knowledge that we had challenges around the leadership in the EMPD and the instability, so it delayed the vetting of that. But in terms of the law, EMPD officials needs to be vetted yearly. It's in terms of the SAPS Act as well. So it's something that from now on going forward, it will be done on a yearly basis, and we'll not have a situation where a year passes without that vetting being done.
When you're mentioning the issue of instability at a senior level, you're responsible, or your department is responsible for the actual carrying out of this process. How impactful have those instabilities and frustrations, and how have they been frustrating you within your unit?
Yes, so normally the process goes like this, that the Chief of Police will coordinate in terms of the officers and to make sure that the officers are cooperating with the process. So in absence of that chain of command, which is what the police normally works with, it makes it a difficult thing for us to coordinate and carry out the process.
I mean, I would assume that there are some new recruits that have been made since 2022 and now. Are you saying those individuals have not been voted, did not go through that process, and how risky, how much of a risk does that pose into the integrity of your own unit and the mandate it has to do?
Yeah. So if I can make it more explaining it, is that in terms of the process, it's the duties of the Chief of Police to make sure that it happens. For us, we carry out the actual process, but he must be the one who's in his responsibility in terms of job description and the SAPS Act. He must be able to coordinate the whole process. So from our end, we basically the supporting department and to make sure that the actual nitty-gritties in terms of operations happens. Yes.
Mr. Rakgwale, thank you very much, sir, for your time. Thank you very much, Michelle. That's Mr. Rakgwale there, who's responsible for forensics in the municipality of Ekurhuleni, stating that, well, there have been challenges when it comes to the senior leadership, especially the chief of police in this municipality, who is responsible for ensuring that these vetting processes do take place. However, they have not been taking place in the past for the past 3 years or so. So that's the latest from us here. It's back to you in studio.
Ziniko, thanks very much indeed.